Now, I think at this point in time, it's pretty safe to say that the Galaxy S24 is the ultimate phone for the average consumer. And let me explain. Now, according to Law Insider, the term average consumer is often defined as a consumer who is reasonably well informed and reasonably observant and circumspect, taking into account social, cultural, and linguistic factors. Now, the key word in this definition is circumspect, which basically means that you don't want to take any risks, and in this case, you don't want to pay too much money for a phone that you're not going to use to its full capacity. And when it comes to not spending your hard-earned money, not taking great risks on buying simple things like a smartphone is a pretty good thing. You want a phone that's reliable, durable, and will last you a long time, which is why I think that the Galaxy S24 is an excellent candidate that will satisfy all three of those needs. And I know many of you guys are at home thinking, bruh, this phone isn't cheap. What the f are you talking about when you say that it's great for the average consumer? Well, yes, it's not the cheapest phone on the market, but it has a much better chance at providing you with a quality, long-lasting experience compared to that cheaper phone that might break down on you after 2 to 3 years. If we compare the Galaxy S24 to most phones on the market that are only slightly cheaper, you will find that the S24 has 7 years of software upgrades, basically meaning that this phone will be on the newest software until 2031. The Galaxy S24 has the newest Snapdragon 8 Gen 3 processing chip, which is not only more powerful than most phones in its price range, but this chip has power that's able to provide a powerful experience for many years to come, which is much better than cheaper phones that are flattening after 2 to 3 years. And most importantly, it will give you an extremely identical experience as its more powerful counterparts, since it's still considered a flagship phone, meaning that for $800, you're getting great value instead of spending $1,000 or more to get a top tier experience. And this, complemented with the fact that the S24 will be going on sale a lot, is in my opinion, a great decision for anyone who wants to buy a reliable phone of great value. And speaking of value, I want to go down a list of features and specs that the Galaxy S24 has compared to its $1,300 counterpart, the Galaxy S24 Ultra. Now, although summer is coming up, a lot of us will be using our phones outside for the next couple of months. And with the Galaxy S24, this is great since it has the exact same brightness as the Galaxy S24 Ultra, which is at 2600 nits peak. And this also means that the Galaxy S24 has a brighter screen than the Pixel 8 Pro and the iPhone 15 Pro Max, which is $400 more. Now, the display is not just extremely bright, but it's also really smooth. It has the exact same feel as the S24 Ultra. Both have a 120Hz refresh rate that will make scrolling much more fluid and seamless, and Samsung didn't skip out on recreating its signature feel. It has the same dynamic AMOLED 2X display as the S24 Ultra, which results in a bright, punchy, colorful display that not only is the best in its price range, but it also looks the best when it comes to watching videos and playing games. And speaking of playing games, it has the same powerful Gen 8 3 chip that can play powerful games such as Call of Duty Mobile or Genshin Impact. I usually play on the highest settings without any hiccups or lags, and it looks really great compared to my Pixel 8 and Pixel 8 Pro that lag at even lower power games like Asphalt 9. Now, durability is also a strong suit that the Galaxy S24 borrowed from the S24 Ultra, Gorilla Glass Victus 2 on the back and front of the S24, which basically means that it can survive a 3-foot drop on concrete and up to a 6-foot 5-inch drop on any other hard surfaces like wooden floors. It's also IP68 dust and water resistant, meaning that it can sit in water for up to 30 minutes and not suffer any damage. The dust resistance allows things like sand and other materials to get in the phone and not cause any damage as well. Cameras aren't exactly as sharp as the more higher priced Galaxies, but we do get the same camera software that has improved, more accurate selfies, great close-ups, and just like the Ultra, it's able to shoot video in 8K resolution. Now, until 2031, the Galaxy S24 is going to be up to date on the latest software, which is really great. It'll match the software features on every single Ultra phone for the next 7 years, and it's much more like the higher power phones of today. It's able to run One UI 6.1 extremely well. I got no lags or hiccups whatsoever. The customization was top tier, and the most important part of One UI 6.1 is the many AI features that it has all across the Galaxy lineup, from the Galaxy S24 Ultra all the way down to the regular S24. Going down the list of AI features, you will have the circle to search feature that will let you make a circle around anywhere on your screen and it'll automatically search it up. If you take a photo and you're not satisfied with the lighting, or maybe you wish it looked better, the S24 now has a remaster button that will enhance the contrast, tone up the brightness, and fix every minor error that it sees in your photo. If you take a photo and you see unnecessary background noise on the S24, you can just hit the erase reflections button and your reflection on that window is gone just like that. If you take a selfie and it's nice, but you feel like an added depth of blur could help, all you have to do is add background blur, which basically means that you don't have to enter portrait mode to get the same results. You can remove subjects completely if someone photobombs your pic, and say you want to adjust your picture to be a certain angle. The Galaxy S24 will not only let you adjust it, but it will also fill in the outside photo to fit the overall aesthetic. The S24 also has a magic editor, which basically lets you move anything in the photo, basically making the editing process limitless. And these AI features not only kept the S24 up to the times, since a lot of phone companies are moving more towards AI, but it also helps in a productive way for those who like taking and editing pictures from your phone. Now, one of my favorite things about the Galaxy S24 is how it was not only able to be very comfortable to hold, but it was also able to provide a really great aesthetic in the process. The round yet boxy frame was not only very comfortable to hold since it was round in the right places, but the boxy frame was able to give me a better grip whenever I used my S24 without a case. The matte feeling back gave the color much more depth, and it was also able to be much less prone to fingerprints. Samsung continued that matte on the sides, which was a very nice little addition that helped with fingerprints and aesthetic. The size of the S24 was able to enhance the comfort factor. It was able to fit in my pockets much easier. It was much easier to use with one hand, and it was still big enough to where you could really enjoy the viewing experience. Battery is one of the best in its price range. The past 2 days, I've been able to get 5 to 6 hours of screen time, and this is me using the S24 to the max. I use 5G in and outside the house. I put my brightness on manual, and I was outside a lot the past 2 days, so my brightness was maxed out. And like always, I avoided power saving mode at all times, so if you were ever wary about the S24's battery capacity, I assure that they're above average. The only thing that I didn't like when it came to the battery was the fact that the S24 is the only phone in the series to not support 45 watt fast charging. It instead supports 25, which is much slower, and this, mixed in with the fact that the display is only 1080p, are the only two problems that I came across with my Galaxy S24. Now, unlike the battery and display, there were no disappointments when it came to the performance. The Snapdragon Gen 8 chip handled every power heavy app that I threw at it very well, and it managed to allow me to play the best settings within each game. I mainly play Call of Duty Mobile. I put it on max settings, and as you guys can see, there were no lags whatsoever. The frame rate was able to stay consistent, and even when comparing to my Pixel 8 Pro, the S24 runs and looks much better, which is pretty impressive for a phone that's only $200 cheaper. Now, camera is one of the most essential parts of the smartphone experience, and in terms of improvements, the Galaxy S24 has taken a major step up in this department. Because by doing this, I wanted to show you guys how close these phones actually are in terms of quality. Now, taking a look at selfies, both the S24 and Pixel 8 Pro have the same software, which basically means that the color adjustments and punchiness is about the same. Everyday photos were very telling as well. The iPhone 15 Pro Max is extremely comparable when it comes to pixels, despite being better overall. But I think the fact that the S24 is competing in some pictures is more than enough compared to that Samsung software. Inside photos gave an even bigger difference. There were times where it wasn't the greatest at dealing with lower lighting, but I do think that the S24 did pretty well, and this is the only category where I would say that it can't really compete with higher tier phones. Videos were also pretty okay. Again, there were some inconsistencies when it came to how it deals with lighting, but overall, I think it's pretty good for the price, and it is one of the weaker aspects when looking at the S24's strengths. And alright you guys, those are my final opinions regarding the Galaxy S24. It's a really good phone that'll give you a solid experience, and it plays its position very well as an introduction to the flagship experience. So if you want quality, durability, and longevity, the Galaxy S24 is the perfect phone for the average consumer. Peace.